Revisit objectives. Ensure content aligns with your research goals. Revisiting objectives. Ensuring content aligns with research goals in Chapter 2. Review of related literature is a critical component of thesis writing, as it establishes the theoretical foundation of the study. However, one of the most common challenges researchers face is ensuring that the literature review remains aligned with the research objectives. Without a clear connection between the reviewed studies and the study's goals, the literature review can become unfocused, overly broad, or irrelevant. This section discusses the importance of revisiting research objectives, strategies for maintaining alignment, techniques for filtering relevant studies, and best practices for ensuring a well-structured and purpose-driven literature. Review 1. Why revisiting research objectives is essential before analyzing related studies. It is essential to continuously refer back to the research objectives to ensure that the literature review supports the overall research aim. The key reasons for revisiting objectives include: maintaining focus. Prevents the review from becoming overly broad or irrelevant. Ensuring relevance helps in selecting studies that contribute directly to the research. Strengthening argumentation supports the logical progression of ideas by linking studies to research. Questions. Avoiding information overload prevents the inclusion of excessive, unrelated data. Without proper alignment, the literature review may lack coherence and fail to justify the need for the research. Strategies for ensuring alignment with research objectives. To keep Chapter 2 focused on the research objectives, researchers should adopt the following strategies. A. Clearly define research objectives. Before analyzing literature, ensure that research objectives are specific, measurable, and well articulated. Each reviewed study should address at least one of the objectives. Example: research. Objective: to analyze the impact of online learning on students' academic performance. Aligned literature review topics: studies on e-learning effectiveness, digital education tools, and online student engagement. Irrelevant topics: studies on general classroom teaching methods without digital learning elements. By defining research objectives precisely, only relevant studies will be included in the review. B. Categorize literature based on objectives. A structured approach to organizing literature ensures that all sources contribute to answering the research problem. Use themes or variables related to the objectives. Example: if a study focuses on factors affecting online learning success, categorize sources as technological factors, internet accessibility, device availability. Pedagogical factors: teaching strategies, student motivation. Psychological factors: student stress levels, adaptability. This method prevents irrelevant tangents and maintains logical flow. C. Continuously cross-check content with objectives at different stages of writing. Compare the literature review with the research objectives to identify misalignments. Questions to ask. Does this study help answer my research questions? Does it contribute to understanding my research problem? Is the connection between this study and my objective clearly explained? If a source does not contribute meaningfully to achieving research objectives, it should be removed or rewritten to emphasize its relevance. Filtering and selecting relevant studies. To avoid including excessive, unfocused literature, follow these selection techniques. A. Use inclusion and exclusion criteria. Define criteria for selecting relevant studies. Example: if researching the impact of artificial intelligence, AI, on education, establish. Inclusion criteria: AI applications in online learning, studies published within the last 5 years, peer-reviewed sources from academic journals. Exclusion criteria: AI in unrelated fields, e.g., healthcare, robotics. Outdated studies that do not reflect current trends. Non-academic sources with no empirical evidence, applying. Such criteria ensures that the selected literature is directly relevant to the research. But B. Prioritize high-impact studies. Instead of reviewing every available study, focus on seminal works and highly cited papers that have contributed significantly to the field. Example: If researching online learning methodologies, prioritize landmark studies on digital pedagogy, meta-analyses summarizing multiple findings, research with strong empirical data supporting claims. Prioritizing high-quality sources strengthens credibility and academic rigor. C. Use literature. Maps a literature map visually organizes sources based on how they relate to research. Objectives. Example: a concept map linking research objectives to different literature themes can help identify gaps and overlaps. C. Use literature maps. A literature map visually organizes sources based on how they relate to research objectives. Example: a concept map linking research objectives to different literature themes can help identify gaps and overlaps. Example: structure, research objective. Assess the effect of online learning on student engagement. Key themes: self-paced learning, teacher interaction, virtual collaboration. Supporting studies, author, year. Key findings. This technique keeps the literature review structured and goal-oriented. Revisiting objectives are different. Stages of writing. Ensuring content remains aligned with research goals is an ongoing process throughout the literature review. Consider these checkpoints. Before writing. Identify relevant studies that support research objectives. During writing. Frequently cross-check sections against research questions. After drafting. Revise and remove content that does not directly contribute to the research purpose. This iterative review process prevents deviations and ensures a focused, well-supported literature review. Best practices for maintaining. Objective alignment. To further refine the literature review, consider these best practices. Use research questions as a guide. Frame each section around answering research questions. Synthesize, don't summarize. Compare and contrast findings rather than listing them. Regularly consult advisors. Seek feedback to identify misaligned sections. Ensure logical flow. Each study should logically connect to beta-biotum up. The next, building toward a cohesive argument. Be concise and purposeful. Avoid lengthy discussions on unrelated topics. By following these practices, Chapter 2 remains concise, relevant, and directly connected to the study's objectives. Conclusion. Ensuring content aligns with research. Objectives revisiting research objectives throughout the writing process is crucial for maintaining focus, coherence, and academic rigor in Chapter 2. Researchers should clearly define research objectives before selecting literature. Categorize studies based on their relevance to research questions. Use inclusion and exclusion criteria to filter relevant sources. Regularly cross-check content to avoid misalignment. Structure the literature review logically to support the study's aims. By continuously aligning content with research goals, Chapter 2 becomes a strong, well-supported foundation for the entire thesis. If you found this content helpful, subscribe to stay updated on the next tips for writing Chapter 2. Feel free to comment below with topics you'd like us to cover in future content. Thank you.